I'm trying to figure out, do I do like strategist reacts? I'm not really sure. So what I want to do is talk about the creative brief today. And because I think there's too much fake news out there about the creative brief. I don't think people know how to use it or what it's for. And so let me go ahead and share my screen. I looked up a few creative brief templates, some people who said, hey, here's what a creative brief is. And I'm just like, you know what? Don't know about that. So let's look at it together and see if we make sense of it. So, first of all, a creative brief is going to be something for usually it's for a campaign, but you can use it for other things. You can use it for a blog post, let's say. You can use it for things like that, but really it's more like for a campaign. Like, hey, we're going to make 3 ads and we're going to have a landing page and we're going to, basically put a bunch of money to get people to do funnel into this landing page where we ask for a call to action. And so a creative brief, I used to get creative briefs and used to write creative briefs when I would write an ad. And so it would help focus me as a writer because writing is a lot different than guiding a designer. A designer will benefit from the creative brief as well, but a writer needs a creative brief. And the problem that solves is that you have, if you have the problem that solves is that if you're at all unclear about what your strategy is, and if you're not singular, if you're not focused about it, then the writer will have to do strat. He'll have to guess at the strategy. He'll have to say, okay, what are we selling, service or price? Like I don't know because the creative brief either says both, right? It lists all the advantages of the product, um, and so the writer doesn't know what to talk about, or it doesn't say anything and the writer has to guess. And so you don't want the writers focusing and agonizing over that stuff because then you get bland creative. What you want is you want to be super specific and give the writer a solution space to work in. And so if you do that, good creatives, good writers are going to come up with really good stuff, and you should make them write 100 headlines from that creative brief and to see what all ideas there are. So that's how you get really good, like Madison Avenue quality copywriting. You have to have a creative brief, and then you have to have a good writer. Now, I've seen some really crappy strategists at even places like Wyden and Kennedy. I saw one guy, I won't tell you how I know. I was there, and I had him actually speak to my class one time. So, and he showed up, he rolled in and he was like, yeah, I do video creative briefs. I kind of show people, what it looks like. And I'm like, no, you don't do that because when people do crap like that, it means that they don't know how to logically make a case and a strategy. They're like, let me just throw some designs out there and show, and they do a video creative brief and show a skateboarder and all this cool stuff. And it's like, okay, you're spending a bunch of money and you're not doing your damn job, which is to figure out what are we selling, who's it for, and why does it matter to them? And that's very simple. And I shouldn't have to, as a copywriter, watch a video to find out, sort through a video to see if I can locate what exactly they mean. It should be black and white on a page. Folks, colleges do not teach critical thinking these days, and critical thinking is what you need to do this job. So anyway, enough about that. Let's react to a little bit of to some articles. So this one's from HubSpot and it's about the creative brief. How to write a creative brief in 11 simple steps, examples, and templates. We may not get through all this stuff, but let's get a start. Maybe this will be part one. All right. So, what is a creative brief? A creative brief is a short document, I would say 1 page, that sums up marketing, advertising, or design project mission, goals, challenges, demographics, messaging, and other key details. I would say no. I would say it sums up what is it we're selling, who's it for, and why does it matter to them. You might also have, if it's like a new invention or something that seems unbelievable, why they should believe it. And that may actually replace your why does it matter? Because really, guys, the message has to be concise and it has to be hard hitting and it has to catch their interest. It can't be listing everything under the sun. Don't list the challenges unless they mean client the challenges of the person you're selling to. That's the only challenges you care about. Don't tell me what your marketing challenges are, strategist. Don't tell me what your company goals are. Don't care. This is a creative brief, one page. It's for the creatives. All I need to know is what is it I'm selling, and any details about that that are directly related to why they care and why it matters to the audience. And they need to know the audience. Those are the things I need to know. You might hear that once or twice from me. So, project mission, what do we want them to do? That's all I need to know. Do not tell me the project mission. Don't tell me the goals. We don't need more than, there's no more than one goal. These can be summed up in the CTA. Tell me what you want them to do. Challenges, again, demographics. Okay. Demographics are the language of media. So as a writer, I want to write to a person, not to a demographic. My writing's going to be better. It's going to be more personal. I'm going to feel like I know the person, and I'm going to write like I care about them because I feel like I know them. And I want them, if I'm selling something I believe in, you want me to be speaking to a person, not a demographic. If I speak to a demographic, writers tend to write more formally. It sounds like an ad and it's crap. But if you're writing to a person, now all of a sudden it's going to have more of a personal feel. It's going to have a lot more confidence in it because I'm going to feel like I'm talking to a real person. Messaging is essentially, what did I say? What is it? Who's it for? Why does it matter to them? That's all you care about. And other key details? Nope, not other key details. What is it? Who's it for? Why does it matter? You want to put a deadline in there? Put that in the task manager. Don't put it in the creative brief. This is me telling you my opinion. It's going to muck things up. There might be a section where you have to say, don't mention this or something, which is going to screw things up. But if you're not allowed to mention a certain thing, or you're not allowed to promise an interest rate or whatever, you have to put that in there. Other than that, it's what is it, who's it for, and why does it matter? The goal of the brief is not to achieve all stakeholder alignment on a project. It's to a creative brief. Creative is to focus the copywriter. The strategist, tell them the copywriter, here's the strategy, go execute this. It's a target package. So I realized that the way HubSpot is defining this, it's much more broad. It sounds to me like they're talking about what I would call a marketing brief, which is more high level and technical and can be multiple pages. That's probably why we're going to disagree on this more, but it's also why this is going to be a helpful way to look through these things. So the purpose of a creative brief, I'm going to ignore what they say because it's probably not completely right. I think we've covered things. All right. Project name, I don't know. Sure. What's the campaign name? Do you have a name for it? Great. Company background? No, don't put the company background in here. Do not put the company background in here. It's a one-page creative brief. Project objective, put the CTA. That's all you need to know. What do you want me to ask the audience to do? Target audience? Yes. Competitors? No. Don't put competitors in there. Key message, the single most important thought, you can add that at the end. It goes at the top. It's called the single most important thought, and it's answered after you say, what is it, who's it for, and why does it matter? And then you have the call to action in there, and you say something like, audience should, call to action, whatever that is, click on the link, give us a phone call, whatever, because, and then why should they care? So because it'll make their lives better. It'll give them peace of mind, which is, by the way, a horrible, go deeper than that. Know your audience a little better than that. But anyway, that's the point. Audience should do the CTA because this is the benefit they'll get. This is the benefit you will get. This is how it'll impact your life. Key customer benefit. Yes, you want the benefit, that persona you want to talk about, or why do they care, right? Why does it matter to them? What is it? Who's it for? Why does it matter? That's the benefit. Why does it matter? Attitude, that comes from the brand guide. That doesn't go in the creative brief. It comes from the brand guide, and the writer should get that separately. That's your verbal guidelines is what I would call those. Call to action, yes, of course, call to action. And then distribution. I can go a couple of different ways on this because they need to know what they're creating. But that's going to be something that goes in it's separate from the creative brief. It goes in like, okay, here's all the stuff you're creating. Yeah, technically it could go in the creative brief. All right, you want put another page on the back of the creative brief and say, here's what you're making. Here are the deliverables that you have to have, right? Here's what we're going to turn your headlines into. And then you can have that in there. Sure. Okay. So let's see what it says here. I'm going to go a little bit in detail, but right now I feel like we've gotten a good overview. I'm going to cut it and then we're going to talk about um, the steps it talks about going through. And we're going to talk about what it, yeah, how do you, looks like they have steps for how to do it. So we're going to talk about that later.